My name is Don Larson. How many of you ever heard of a Don Larson? Used to pitch for the Yankees. Do you remember that? 1956 World Series. He's the only one that pitched a perfect game in a World Series. Unfortunately, he spells his name S-E-N, mine's S-O-N. But I did meet him in Salina, Kansas. Speaking of Kansas, Norman from Oklahoma there. I was in California one time visiting my sister, and I was talking to an acquaintance, and he wanted to know where I was from. I said, well, I'm from Kansas. And I said, have you ever been there? He says, I was there once, but it was closed. My little friend there is taking this for a bid at David Letterman show, I'm sure. I had quite an interesting youth. When I was 5 years old, my parents ran away from home. I said, my parents ran away from home. You get that? Well, anyway, Mom told me one time that she took me on a train when I was a little baby and sat down, and a guy sat next to her and he said, lady, that's the ugliest baby we've ever seen. And my mother started crying and crying, and she said to call the conductor, I want another seat. This man insulted me. So he said, well, come on down the aisle. So she followed him down the aisle, crying all the way, sobbing and everything. He says, lady, calm down. Here's a seat right here. I'll get you a cup of tea and I'll get a bag of peanuts for your monkey. I have a lot of jokes about religion. You can leave if you want, Mel. Actually, I came from a family of 4 children, and I asked Mom why she stopped at 4. No aspersions intended. She said, well, I read in the paper every 5th born was Chinese, and we didn't want to chance it. But I grew up actually in Illinois, and I moved to Kansas and married a girl named Hildegard. And when I first started going to Hildegard, I thought, Hildegard, I never heard the name. I thought it was a disease, you know. And, but we got married and had 4 lovely children. I don't know where they are now. Yes, they do. They're all over. And unfortunately, she passed away, and she was 6 years younger than me. I'm between 89 and dead. And if you don't laugh, my friend there has a bottle of acid rain. He's going to spill that all over you. I see my sister holding her head back there. She's embarrassed. That's all right. There's a joke about a gal that joined a convent, and this convent was very, very strict. You could only say 2 words every 10 years. So at the end of 10 years, why, she goes into the Mother Superior, and she says, hard bet. Mother Superior says, oh, okay. And another 10 years goes by, that's 20 years. She goes in there and says, bad food. Mother Superior says, oh, okay. And she goes in there, and that's 10 years, that's 30 years. She says, I quit. Mother Superior says, I'm not surprised. All you do is complain, complain, complain. This man, his old reprobate, was walking along the highway, and he was hit by a car, hit and run, very badly injured. And the nearest hospital was a Catholic hospital. And they took him in there, and he was in a coma for 2-3 weeks. And the Mother Superior was, you know, worried about what the bill's going to be. And finally he woke up, and she said, have you got any money? He said, no, I haven't got any money. He said, well, do you have any relatives that can help pay for your bill? No, well, yeah, I got an old maid sister that's a nun over at the St. Convent over here. And the sister drew herself up in all her indignity and says, I'll have you know we are not old maids. We've been married to Jesus Christ. He says, in that case, send the bill to my brother-in-law. Having raised 4 kids, I'm glad I don't have to do it again. I know my children don't listen to you anymore anyway. And I would tell my daughter, I said, please go to your room at your convenience. And if you don't go, I'm going to count to 1,500. She went to her room. The Pope had a complex of his cardinals one day. And he said, I got good news and bad news. They said, well, what's the good news? God called me. They said, well, what's the bad news? He called from Salt Lake City. Want me to go over that again? These 2 guys were talking about their wives. One said, well, how many wives you had? I had 3 of them. He said, what happened to the first one? Well, she died of mushroom poisoning. Oh, that's too bad. What about the second one? Well, she died of mushroom poisoning. What about the third one? She died of a skull fracture. She wouldn't eat her mushrooms. They had these kids write a letter to God, and one little girl wrote, is it true about do unto others as they do unto you? And if that's true, I'm going to fix my brother. I'm going to fix my brother. I'm going to beat up on him, you know that. Well, my knees buckle, but my belt won't. And I'm going to have to sit down, I think, before I lose my pants. But I like to get up here and just talk to you a little bit about things. And I'm about exhausted from that now. But thank you for being kind, and please laugh.
Way to go, Don.